Hello and welcome to Jrock's Babylon. I am your host, Jason Jrock Houston, and our guest for today is Mike Dibbs. Now, Mike, you've got an interesting Christmas themed project called Yellow Snow. Why don't we start off? Tell us a little bit about Yellow Snow and how you came up with the idea for this.
So this project actually started such a long time ago, and it just was a bunch of friends who got together and we would do Christmas music, and it was really bad. But what we did is we would make these CDs back in the day, and we would make it an excuse to go and see our family. So we would make it, and it'd be a reason to go see family and friends, and we gave them out. And then over the years, we realized, wow, we actually have about 12, 15 songs. Why don't we do a show? And make that instead of making all these CDs going to see people themselves, let's just have everybody come and see us. So that's really how the beginning of this happened. It was
And
just
how
sort
many
of
years ago was that first
uh,
show? And was it as Yellow Snow? Or
yeah, the first show that we ever did was in 2006.
okay,
So
okay.
coming
And,
up
and
on
what was
20
that
years.
show like? Because I always enjoy the Christmas time. Growing up, I mean that's one of my favorite times of the year. I remember as a kid, like watching all the Christmas specials and stuff like that. And I really get into the music. Even since Thanksgiving this year, I've been on my way to work, like listening to Christmas music on the radio, just really getting into it. I don't know about you, but I love the traditional stuff. Because stuff like Winter Wonderland, Jingle Bells, Santa Claus is coming to town. It's kind of rocking stuff, and it's all upbeat. Everybody knows it, and I'll tell you a real fun fact here, Mike. I recently got the Striper Christmas CD, and
Ah.
and, and I'm just loving that because first of all, what they did, but I loved kind of creativity wise, is they recorded like five traditional Christmas songs, and they wrote five originals, which I just love creativity that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I grew up on, the Rankin Bass, all the claymation, all the Heat Miser and all that stuff. That was always my favorite. And I think that was the reason that we started doing this is we loved it so much that it was sort of, a bunch of people in their 20s getting together and playing Christmas music from things that they remember as kids. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a huge fan of all that stuff, especially the old Burl Ives and all that original stuff. And it's
In
fantastic.
fact, I'll tell you a funny story about getting the new Christmas Striper Christmas CD. Is there's a traditional Christmas song on there called "Take It to the Mountain." I've heard it many times before by other artists, but I really got into the Striper version. And funny enough, so I thought I wanted to do a little research on the song. I go and research it. I come to find out that originally it wasn't even a Christmas song. It was originally a African gospel song. It dates back to the 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we do God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and that's a similar thing. I mean, it's an old hymn, it's an
uh,
old, great, almost Gregorian chant kind of thing. And that's what I loved about it. And I thought when I heard that one, I go, well, we should do that because that's dark. There's some rock and roll in there somewhere. So,
yeah.
that's kind of the idea is you kind of take some of these older songs that are really, you know, really kind
Yeah,
of dark in their essence and you make them into a Christmas song, which is really,
in fact, I'll tell
different.
you a funny story, Mike, in prepping for the interview today is, again, not knowing a lot about who you are, I'm obviously able to find stuff about Yellow Snow. And I go on Facebook, I type in Yellow Snow, your page comes up, but um, also a clip of Frank Zappa from, I don't know, years ago, something doing with Yellow Snow. And even he was, so I'd love to know, first of all, how you came up with the name Yellow Snow.
Well, I think it was literally one of the early projects we were doing. It was, hey, what are we going to call this thing? And it was one of those things where I think back to Dave Grohl when he started the name Foo Fighters. It was,
Yeah.
if I would have known that this would have actually been a real thing, I don't think I ever would have called it Yellow Snow. Just like he said, I never would have called it Foo Fighters. It was going to be a
Yeah.
serious project. I think somebody just threw it out there and that's how it
Because
stuck.
again, yellow snow that kind of gives people a certain image of what that is, but um, use your imagination. But I think it's fun. And then now, obviously, the album is called Volume One, so I'm assuming there will be a Volume Two next year.
Oh yeah, we're already we've all the songs are done. They're already written. It's sort of a
Wow.
strategic rollout of when we're going to do that. But
Yeah.
we've got the second album ready to go. We did a show in Nashville and we played some of the new songs off the record. So I like I'm sick of Volume One already because I've been working on it for so long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
listen to it. Volume Two it's really cool and it's got more of of what we're about, which is sort of the Staxy horns with the heavy
Yeah.
guitars and the big vocals. So volume two is it's ready to go.
So let me ask you, Mike. Now, this may sound like a silly question, but because obviously you're a musician, you've got this collection of Christmas tunes you're putting out. Um, so no doubt you're a musician. But my question, like going back to, I think you said the first show was 2000,
Six. Yeah.
2006. Who are the people that come to the show? Because obviously a lot of people maybe don't know who Yellow Snow is, or these people that are friends, family, people you work with.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because from a people who come to the show standpoint, it's usually started out as friends and family, and then it just kind of got to, hey, we heard that so and so went to the show. We should come to the show. We really, we were like it. And
Yeah,
then those little again at the time, the little CDs that we had,
yeah,
people would listen to them and they go, oh, that's kind of cool. But it's really funny because when people think Christmas music, the
yeah,
first thing they think of is what? Like fa la 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 la,
yeah,
old
yeah.
school stuff, right? So it's really hard to sell people on, hey man, you should come out and see this rock and roll show we're doing. It's a Christmas show. And everyone goes, oh man. So it's like trying to break through that level of, okay, yes, it's Christmas, but yes, do you like rock and roll? Yes. Do you, and he kind of
Like this. Yeah.
yeah, and once I get people to listen to it, they kind of get it. But when they come to the show, the reactions are even from this show, people, in the town like Nashville, where people are so spoiled with the music that are here. They were all going, "Yeah, I heard the album and it was cool, but when I came here, it was a way different thing than what I expected.
So,
This is
so you've done the
different."
two shows. So you did the one recent show in Nashville. What was that like compared to the
Well,
last?
the vault, we got a chance to share the stage with some of the best players in the world. It was amazing. The band was fantastic, and it was. I mean, as a player, it's so much fun to be able to share the music with new people. So being in Nashville for the first time, it was great. But Nashville is the competition, the bar is really high. But like I said, I was very surprised that so quickly people who came to the show, they're like, "Wow, this is so different. This is so cool. We love it."
And
So I
even
was,
this show this year, probably more heavily advertised. You got the internet, which was kind of new back then.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So literally, back the first couple of shows, we're literally hey, cousin Tom, hey, cousin Dawn, it was really that kind of thing, word of mouth. I mean, let's not date ourselves too much, but back in my day, we had MySpace, right? Like that was as
I'm
digital as
with
it
you.
got.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
and I tell people, not my Christmas band, but my other band, we were doing a show and we were doing a Tom Petty cover song to fill in some of the gaps. And I remember saying to my buddy, I said, Chris, I forgot the lyrics to the last verse. And back then, there was no looking it up on a phone. You couldn't look up
Yeah.
the things. We had
Yeah.
to sit there and try to figure out the lyrics. So, yeah, I mean, now, we were super lucky. We got some advertising on the radio and, internet and social media. So it's a lot easier now than it was,
And talk about the musicians that play on the album. Are these friends of yours or people that?
So both. So basically half the people who play on the record are really the OG Yellow Snow people from 2000 that started. But then we were also so how it kind of morphed was I had all the arrangements and all the basics of it. And then I went to Nashville at the time and we had some studio players play with us. So Ryan Scarborough, Kyle Cook from Matchbox 20, John Coleman, and I brought my friend Franklin who played bass and we cut the basic tracks here. And then the horns weren't really part of this process yet, but from my other job, I was introduced to this guy. Hey, you should go to this guy, and he can help you write some music as part of your songwriting team. So he's like, I play trumpet, and I said you should do some horns for this project because we had the Grinch. So he wrote horns for Man in Red, my original song, and The Grinch, and they came back, and at that point, that was sort of okay. Now we have this Yellow Snow thing, and it ended up being Kurt Ram who plays with Springsteen.
Oh
So
wow.
Kurt and Billy Holloman, they do all the horn arrangements and they perform all the horns. So we had that, and then we had some, the vocalists are a bunch of the guys from back home, Al Diaz, Matt Baird, Jay Burnt. I sang on a couple of songs, and then we did another round in Nashville, and we had Nathan Barlow sing on some stuff, and we had Derek Wells play guitar, and I mean, it's like the level of players from just a bunch of guys and gals from back in Rhode Island to some of the top players
Wow.
around. It
Yeah,
was
and
really
you
it's a
you
cool
you mentioned
mix.
the song "The Red Man in the Red." I love
Yeah.
that when I first heard it. The video, I urge people to go check it out. It is a rocking tune. But I love the fact that for your first single, you went with an original tune. What a
Yeah.
way to kick this campaign off, you know?
Yeah, Man in Red is one of my favorite, and I do like the fact that we kind of set the tone of what this is, and
I really think it did. You accomplished that, yeah.
yeah, well, thanks. And I feel like to get people to understand, it's not a Christmas record; it's just a rock and roll record that happens to have Christmas lyrics,
Yeah.
and that's our style with the horns and the heavy guitars and the harmonies and all that stuff. So we're really really proud of
And
that one.
probably the heaviest, kind of most rock-oriented Christmas thing that's been out there the last several years is Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but that's not what this is. This is kind of something in its own. In fact, one of the other tunes on the album, I got to tell you that I really love too, that I was kind of introduced years ago through the Bon Jovi version was Backdoor Santa.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That one came out. Oh my God. So my friend Jay Burnt sang that one and it was perfect. And we actually had Max Ann Lewis, who used to sing with the Ikettes. She sings background on that. And again, Kurt and Billy doing the horns. And again, in our style, we kind of went and took the original
Mm-hmm.
and sort of just made it heavier. It's like, what if Queens of the Stone Age or Jack White walked into Stax? And what would
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that was kind of the idea kind of, but that's one of my favorite ones on the record.
Yeah, and I got a friend, this guitar player named Mick Michaels. He plays in this band out of Philadelphia called Corner of the Sanctuary. Now they're a metal band, but a few years ago they started releasing like a Christmas single every year, and they've got enough tunes now. They've been doing like the last 10, 11 years that they can now put like a full length CD of it out. And he says the funny thing, we're a metal band, Jason. And he says, but the Christmas music is the most popular. We get our music gets played on radio stations like you wouldn't believe more that
Yeah.
time of the year than any other time.
It's it is crazy. And again, I mean, I joke about this all the time because people go, "Do you think it's cheesy that you do Christmas music?" I'm like, first of all, I never set out to do a Christmas thing. It was never like, "Hey, I want to be the Christmas guy." It just happened to be that we kept doing these and they kept getting better. And then more people, we would have like, 500 people show up at our show to do Christmas. And then we do our original stuff and there'd be five people there. So we're going,
I
well,
mean,
maybe there's
it is
something
a
to
niche, but
this.
it's a cool niche to have. And I think what people don't realize, because this friend of mine, Mick Michaels, I talked about in his band Corners of Sanctuary, they do Christmas music every year, some original, some traditional. And the interesting thing is, I suggested, since you're so popular doing this Christmas music, you guys should do like a Christmas themed show. He's telling me maybe one day, but you don't realize that all that would go into putting on a show like that.
It's incredible. And what we want to do is we have some IP and original characters and like a whole world that goes along with this. But to his point, I mean, when you start thinking about the amount of content and effort, I mean, it's massive undertaking to do it. I
Yeah.
mean, just to do the rock show is enough work, but then to add in what you're talking about, yeah, I agree with them 100%.
In fact, it's funny. I don't know if you're at all a Twisted Sister fan, but for years, their best-selling album was "Stay Hungry," which was a big album in 1984 with "I Want to Rock," and we're not going to. But they put out a Christmas album, which is now taken over as their best-selling album in their
Oh, no
catalog.
kidding. Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta. Well, when I was a kid, I used to steal my brother's vinyl, but luckily, thank God, I thank my brother that he actually had good taste. So it was like Van Halen, Cheap Trick, ZZ Top,
yeah,
some really great stuff, but Quiet Riot,
yeah.
Twisted Sister, all of that was Kiss, all of that was mixed in with all that stuff. So as much as I'm more of a 90s, that
Oh
was
yeah, yeah,
sort of
yeah,
the
yeah.
music that I, morphed
Yeah.
and I grew to that stuff, the Twisted Sister and all that older stuff. We grew up on
See,
that
I bring
stuff.
that up only because it's amazing. That's become a big thing, and I guess the music business. I mean, it's not as big as it once was, but I mean, I've said Mariah Carey always goes number one every year. That's a big thing, big surprise. But if you really dig, there's some great rock kind of oriented Christmas music out there.
Well, I mean, first of all, what kind of got me into this lane was, do you remember the A Very Special Christmas series?
Yeah, that's the one where I heard the Bon Jovi backdoor
Right,
Santa.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, so for me, it was the Tom Petty stuff, it was the
uh,
Billy Squires stuff, all that stuff. Again, I was going, oh man, actually, Christmas music can be cool if Billy Squires doing it, Tom Petty's doing it, then I can do it. But yeah, I mean, that stuff was those records were some of my favorite records doing that. Those very special Christmas records. I love
I
that.
wish more artists would do that. It's a fun thing, and it's interesting from talking to you from a musician's point of view. Like you say, people say, "Oh, you're a Christmas guy," but I would imagine if this is something you do even once a year, you have the whole year to be recording you have the whole year to be writing the tunes and getting it together.
Yeah, well, we're trying to do for eventually we want to do like a 30 show kind of thing where we do. I would love it to be sort of a residency somewhere where people would come and we'd be able to do it. But you say that it's easy because it's one season, but it's sort of like we start in February,
Yeah.
to start doing things. So it's you only have a couple months off, and then it's, if we were to, we're going to do a new record, it's getting back to that, and then you're
Like this
writing.
guy I told you about, Mick Michaels, he tells me, okay, we know every year we're going to record some Christmas music. He goes, but that means I have to start writing a tune around May or June. We record it in
Yep,
July and August to have it ready
exactly.
by December.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to get people to be on board when it's July and you're doing Christmas music. You're like, man, this we can't be doing Christmas music with 100 degrees outside and I'm in shorts. No, can't do
Yeah.
it.
So how like when you recording the song service, how tired did you get of these songs while you're recording them? By the time it's ready to be released in December, or you're like,
Oh,
okay, no, this is a finished product, so I love hearing how it turned out.
I have waves because when we were trying to finish the mixing, by the time we were finished mixing and we got to mastering, I'm going, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear a single song. But then we took a break, and then when we started to do some of these interviews and I started giving the music out for some of the band members, I would go back and go, wait a minute, this is actually really good. You go back and you go through that. I'm super proud of it. We hit that moment, and then I'm just so sick of hearing it. I don't want to hear it anymore. And that's why I'm excited about the second round of songs already, is you know,
I do think
one's
I'm
done.
equally excited to hear it. But you already have got volume two recorded and ready to go for next year. But I think another cool idea down the line would be like when you get a couple live shows, under your belt, like a live release.
Well, you're kind of revealing the secret for next yeyear. So we
Okay.
shot we shot some shows, and we're going to release for next year, instead of the album, we're going to do, I think we do 5 or 7 live songs, and then two of them will be newer songs that will go on the new record.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah,
And
so we,
and as far as the red one, I got asked about the music video. It's a fun video to watch. I mean, do you want it all talk about the making of it?
the Man in Red video.
Yeah, man in
Yeah,
red.
so that's really some of that footage is some from the original shows in 2006. So I was able to capture, you know, from the original stuff to the tracking to the performing, and it was also, I try to capture everybody in the band that has been part of the band throughout the whole thing.
I always
So
love that, and even
uh,
in watching something visual like that, it tells the story.
yes, yeah. So that, there's literally in the studio shots, most of those are actually of that song. So I really try to keep it unique. And since I'm a musician, I'm such a geek about gear. So get the console, we did some stuff to tape, and cool microphones and great rooms. And so I try to incorporate that as much as I could.
Did you edit the video yourself, or did you have somebody do it for you?
I did it myself, and then I have a partner that I work with, Matt Today. He does all the content for us, so all the logos, all the animation. But I feel like in this day and age, you have to be more than just a musician. You have to be a musician. You have to be a content creator. You got to be,
And I got to tip my hat to a cool video, all that animation. I mean,
oh
uh,
yeah.
congrats on that. And I urge maybe one more video or two because I think it would just push the project over the top. Whereas even
So
if you didn't have a red one, I maybe wouldn't be getting as much attention. That would be very sad.
so we did a Yule-log video. So there's a
Okay.
Yule-log video if you go to the Yellow Snow YouTube page, and we have basically our living room scene, and we have some of our characters in that. And then we're going to release on Monday. We have our merch is available now. So we did a little animated skit with Mikey, who's from Man in Red, and he's in there in his feety pajamas. So we
Oh,
have,
wow, that's great. That's
so
great
we're
fun.
releasing a little content this year.
That's great fun. And then Drummer Boy, I'm assuming it's obviously not the Little Drummer Boy, so that's another original tune.
No, it's Little Drummer Boy, but we made it into our own version of it. And
Ah,
when I thought of it, my mom at the time goes, you should really do the Drummer Boy song. I'm going, Mom, I don't want to sing Pa Ruppa Pum Pum. That's just not what that's a little lame. So what I basically did was I thought, what's the coolest drum thing I know? So I said, to me, the Blue Man Group is the coolest drum thing I know. I love the Blue Man Group. So somehow I kind of heard one of their songs, and in my head I said, well, what if we put the melody to Drummer Boy on top of the basic instrumentation of the Blue Man Group? So I went to Home Depot, I bought the plumbing tubes, we cut the tubes, we
wow.
we ported the tubes, And then so we performed the Blue Man Group underneath, and then we had our vocalist sing on top of that and sing Drummer Boy, and we just made it really heavy. And I gotta say, of all the songs we play live, people love that the most. The heaviest song that we do, and it's
I'm
funny, you're talking
assuming
about
you've
the metal
seen the
guys.
Blue Man group live before.
Oh my God, I must have seen them at least 30 times. I've seen them in almost every city except Chicago, I think. And I've
And
seen them on
do you
tour.
know who is the most famous drummer boy that played in Blue Man Group?
No, who?
Blas Elias, the drummer from Slaughter.
Oh, no kidding.
He's from Vegas. That's why he did that
Oh,
for a few
wow.
years. Yeah. Um, and let me ask you, when you guys are going to be celebrating at home your Christmas holiday this year, you're going to have Yellow Snow playing in the background.
Well, we've written a new song. Nathan Barlow, Mike Fiorentino, and I, we've written a new Yellow Snow song, and my fiance Yana, she can't stop singing it.
Uh,
So she's not in the music business. So when she hears something that's catchy, she's like, "That's a good one. You got to do that." And she's been singing it. So I would assume some of the newest stuff, maybe, but you know, it depends on the time. And I tell people this all the time: when you're on family and you're having your thing, it's Burl Ives, it's the old school Frank
yeah, see, I
Sinatra.
asked because I kind of assume that maybe even the family, like
Yeah.
depending on who's still around, hey, put on your CD, let everybody hear it.
Well, yeah, we do that, and then when the eggnog comes out and Grandma puts the brandy in the eggnog, then it's Yellow Snow time, right? But before it's like we got both lanes that we got to drive through.
Oh, there. So Mike, let me ask you: do you have a day job that keeps you busy the rest of the time from being a full-time musician?
So I do audio post production for television, so mixing TV commercials and writing jingles and that kind of stuff. But I'm trying to. This has sort of become something over the last couple of years. I just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I feel like we're putting more time into dedicating to this. So the TV stuff has sort of gone down the wayside a little bit so that we could focus more on this. But this has really become a full-time job to kind of get this up and running. And I have a really clear vision of where we want to go with this. So it's,
And
two or
I'm
three
kind of
months.
assuming it's maybe financial, but I was curious, like,
Oh,
is there any reason that it was released just like on vinyl and all the stream? Is that just a quicker way to get it, you think, or?
yeah, it's interesting again, doing things before it was CDs and all records, you'd have everything, but
Yeah,
nobody, I mean, besides a few people,
yeah, I
there's
got
people
you.
don't even
Yeah.
have CD players anymore. So it's, figuring out the medium is difficult. I mean, everybody's consuming their stuff on their phones, so
And
it's,
vinyl too. What's interesting about vinyl is I love the fact that it's making a comeback. You know,
yes.
for about 10 years, but now vinyl's a thing. The cool thing about vinyl, I don't mind so much paying a little more for it because most of what's been coming out is very nice collector stuff.
Yeah. They've
Editions.
been, I mean, even ours, we had really cool yellow with white,
Uh,
smoke in there, and they're doing it really cool. But what I love about a vinyl or a tangible product is I love to open the package, put it in the thing, and read
Me
the
too. I'm
credit
old
and who
school that
recorded.
way. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I asked. For so old school guys, but I still want like that's what I had to do. So you do what you have to get it. I went on YouTube. You could get it for, I mean, basically get it for free there. But
Right, right, right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is trying to figure out how are people consuming it. I think more as the business side of the brain is I just want to get the music in front of people. Where is that? Who wants it? And
Yeah.
how
And
are they
so,
doing?
how have the orders for this? Have you been getting a lot of orders?
So not so much on the vinyl quite yet because we're still so new and trying to
Yeah.
get it out, which is weird. I say new, but we've been doing it for a really long time. So we're not
See, here's an
necessarily new,
interesting
but
thing. I've never heard of Yellow Snow until your publicist sent me the press release. And then the funny thing I got to tell you in stand up interview, I remember when they first set out the press release, must have been like around August or September. And I was like, I told Chip, hey, I really want to interview this guy. Sounds like a fun project. He said, yeah, why don't we wait till around the holidays
yeah,
when
right, right, right.
it comes out?
Well,
Like,
that's the other tricky thing too for us is we're working our butt off during August, September, but no one's listening to Christmas music there.
yeah.
So it's kind of pointless to do anything because I haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving yet. So it's a tricky way to market it. But our goal this year is just to get, do things like meeting you, doing interviews
Yeah.
and getting the music just to people to
And
hear it.
I think of more maybe like by next year, enough people will hear about it, and it'll be kind of a traditional thing. Like, oh, what's Yellow Snow doing this year?
Well, that's the goal, man. The goal is for us to be, the got to go see it every year music event of the
See, that would
season.
be fun. I mean, could you imagine if you may laugh when I say this, but could you imagine if Yellow Snow gave like Trans-Siberian Orchestra something to compete with?
Well, that's what the goal is,
Yeah.
But the thing though, I look at it a different way. I don't think it's competing. I just think they're two different
I guess
lanes.
giving people a choice, like, hey, let's
It
let's
is.
have all the fun Christmas stuff we possibly can have,
Yeah.
and with the success you're seeing with this, or the kind of on the rise, so to speak, you ever have a desire to put out like an original like rock album? Like just maybe do something more besides just
Um,
at Christmas time?
yeah, I mean, well, now spending more time in Nashville, I mean, the writers, it's amazing to be around here. And, I did that for 20 years. I've been writing music and originals for TV. So this is new for me
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
Christmas music full time versus,
And what was the recording process then? That being the case, like when you went in to record these songs in the
well, it
studio.
was I had done some arrangements and then going down to Nashville to track and doing the main sessions down there. And then I would go back to Rhode Island and then I would cut vocals and bass, whatever overdubs we needed to do. And that was primarily the thing. And then the horns would get sent out. But generally, for the first time I had ever done it, and this was a long time ago, being in a real studio with real engineers, real microphones. So that was such a treat to be able to do that.
And I think one thing, Mike, that Yellow Snow has going for it is maybe because you're not a household name, and a lot of people, aren't that familiar with your music and what you've done before. They're going to check this stuff out, and they're going to say, "Hey, we'd like to hear more from you." In fact, the funny, I have this other friend plays in the Guns N' Roses tribute band out here in Los Angeles. He plays the role of Axl Rose. His name is Gar Boris. But the point is, like many musicians, he tried to make a living out here doing original music. Could had very trouble. He reported. He says, "I got a lot of stuff that's never been released," but he's actually been more successful playing in the Guns N' Roses tribute. It's
Right.
his band, but that's the way to make money. And people scoff at like tribute bands, but I tell you, it's what I call rock and roll theater. Like, I mean, you go see this guy and his band play. He looks like Axl Rose from 1987. You'd swear it was a real Axl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, being in Nashville more now, I would love to be involved in the writing process. And I'm also an engineer, so being able to produce, engineer, co-write, and all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of plans to do some stuff. My other stuff that I write is more, I would say Billy Joel with an orchestra kind of thing, but with the guitars of Yellow Snow. So I have that sort of different lane that I do, and that aims a little bit more towards TV kind of stuff.
uh,
But, I love co-writing and producing and engineering, and I'm gonna make that a big thing coming up because I'm just kind of TV is fun, kind of did that. Now
yeah.
I do have I have a lot of plans to do some original stuff
You'd
and
be amazed how many like of the '80s rock guys got into like doing TV stuff. I mean, Fred Corey, the drummer from Cinderella, Phil Lewis, who's a singer from LA Guns, he did that for a time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the other thing too is a lot of the heavy metal guys,
yeah,
a lot of heavy metal comes from classical music. So a lot of
yeah.
them have that background. And then to be able to put that down as a score, it's easier for their brain to wrap around it. And it's an easy transition. People go, how would a metal guy ever do
I mean,
composition for it totally works. It totally makes sense.
people are amazed to learn that Ronnie James, the late Ronnie James Dio, from Black Sabbath and Dio,
Yeah.
started out as a trumpet player, not even a singer.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so before I let you go, Mike, I'd like to ask, who are some of your musical influences, growing up?
So my number one was STP,
Oh,
Scott Weiland, the DeLeo brothers. Huge influence. I think Billy Joel is one of the best writers. And then I just love his storytelling. And
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, did you see that HBO documentary on him? Have
Billy
you?
Joel? No, I have to watch it, but I seen the one they
It's
did on the Eagles. I love that. Yeah,
it's so great. His songwriting is amazing. So that and the Beatles obviously, and I love Alice in Chains and the heavier stuff, but I love things that generally have background vocals that
Yeah.
are Beatlesque, you know, and that's why I
Like
kind of
Alice
love.
in Chains was probably one of the grunge bands I liked the best because
Oh,
they kind of had kind of a Sabbathy vibe to what they were doing. But Jerry Cantrell, no doubt about it, is the ultimate singer songwriter. What him and Lane did together. Um,
I accidentally saw them, not accidentally, but I went to go and see Van Halen,
uh,
and they were opening up for them on one of their tours. And
yeah,
I didn't know who they were. I was still young at the time. And I remember leaving the show going, holy crap, who are these guys? This is great. And that was my first experience, you know, listening to Lane, you know,
I got to ask,
singing it in the box.
being a Scott Weiland fan, what did you think of Velvet Revolver, which unfortunately imploded way too soon?
You know, for me, I still like STP because I think the way that they wrote, you know,
Yeah,
that songwriting is just there's something about that that makes them so special. Where Velvet Revolver was cool, I loved it, but it wasn't STP. To me,
yeah, I
there's
got you.
something about STP that was completely magical. I don't know, their songwriting
Yeah,
and
even
their
when he
chemistry.
stepped out of STP and tried to do some solo music, it was
That
good, but it wasn't the same, you know.
Yeah, but 12 Bar Blues, that record was holy. That's one of my that's you know, number one on my vinyl collection on the wall. That album was so good. And I love that he had piano and strings and all different. That's when I was like, this is really great stuff. Really, really great stuff.
Wow. What? Okay, on your recommendation, I'm gonna because that's one album that I missed. I'm gonna go check out. Um, it was great getting to know you, Mike. Hopefully by next year, we'll be doing it again. I'll be following Yellow Snow because I'm gonna be sure to check out the. You said there's a merchandise page.
There is, yes. Yep.
Okay, and where can people find you online?
So you could go to the website, which is yellowsnowmusic.com, and then we're on Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff as well.
And that'll direct them to if they want to purchase the vinyl or anything else, right?
Yep. And on the website, we have direct to vinyl, direct to merch, all that kind of stuff. So
Okay, Mike,
easy.
great talking to you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm not really one for Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas, that's my thing. Yeah,
Merry Christmas to you as well. Happy holidays, all that stuff.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, whatever it
Really
means to
cool.
you. And the interview will be up by tomorrow morning. I'll be sure to let you know once it goes up. Okay,
Perfect, man. Thank you so much.
anytime, brother. Bye.
Take care.